Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of BoxTalk. Today, the executioner Bernard Hopkins tries to unify the belts by fighting Beibut Shumenov. Beibut Shumenov, fresh in his career, not really young, but he's there. He's got a title. Ade, what do you think?
People, sorry, all Shumenov fans that have tuned in for this special edition. I'm going to talk about Bernard Hopkins. Look, it's a good matchup. That's the first and foremost. It's a good matchup.
Yeah,
Shumenov's a belt holder. He's not the big belt holder they probably wanted. He's not Kovalev. He's not Stevenson. Those fights will probably come in the summer if Hopkins gets the win. Hopkins is 49. We've done a video on this before. People might get upset with me. He's a Hopkins bloody fan, friend, crazy. I just don't want to see this guy fight anymore. He's 49 years old. I don't want to see it anymore.
Actually, I understand what you're saying about Hopkins. He is 49. He is getting older. His fights cannot be, sometimes they're not as entertaining as they once were. But, you know, he's trying to make records. He's trying to do something which is different. So all praise to him. Given who he's fighting and how he's fighting, how he's held himself in the past 3, 4, 5 years, can you return to quit?
Yes.
Yeah, he hasn't done nothing in the ring to actually embarrass himself.
No, he hasn't.
Except getting injured. So
no, he hasn't. But it does come to a time. It comes to a time when look, boxing's a sport we all love. But look, boxing ain't snooker. It's not darts. It's not tennis. It's not baseball. It's not basketball. It is one of the most, if not the most dangerous sport out there you can play. Alongside American football, they say for concussions and stuff. Sometimes, as a fighter, Hopkins knows his body. Hopkins says, yes, I'm in the best shape of my life. Obviously, that's not true, Hopkins. Stop lying. You can't be in the best shape of your life at 49 years old. It's not physically possible. You've won everything you could win. You were the middleweight king. You skipped super middleweight. You went up to light heavyweight. You've dominated that. What scares me about Hopkins is, look, he wins this fight, and he's got a good chance. Look, it's by the way, people, it's not a gimme fight. Most people have it as a 50-50 fight. He wins this fight, they're talking Stevenson or Kovalev. I don't want to see that. Okay. I especially do not, and I repeat, do not want to see Adonis Stevenson Hopkins.
Let's look at the actual fight we've got in present.
Okay, let's do it.
Beibut Shumenov, like I said, he's not the marquee name in the division, but he's a title holder. Yeah. And to his credit, he's one of the longer title holders in the division.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kovalev and Stevenson only got their titles last year. Yeah. He's been around. Beibut Shumenov as well is one of those guys, whereas I think he's in a good position for this fight.
I thought Cleverly was supposed to fight him a few times, and that kind of got pulled away. I don't know how that got pulled away.
When I look at someone like Shumenov, he's a guy that he's fresh.
Yeah.
He's young. He's come from that old Soviet bloc amateur system. Yeah. Former Olympian. Yeah. He looks considerably bigger than Hopkins.
Oh, he definitely is bigger. Hopkins is 6'1", debatable. He's 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
He's a big guy. But also, if you look at Hopkins' style recently, he seems to try with Chad Dawson. Taller, rangier guys gives him problems. Yeah. When you look at the way he's been fighting, he fights in spurts. He picks his spots and tries to do things to take advantage of certain mistakes. Yeah. But it's hard to take advantage of certain mistakes when you can't get inside. Timing, distance, leverage, all those things work in favour when you're a young man. When you're an old man, to pull that trigger in that split second gets a little harder.
Yeah, and this is the thing for me. Hopkins, everyone says it. In terms of ring intelligence, you know, you're talking about 21st century fights. Him and Mayweather are like streets and miles, and maybe Oscar De La Hoya as well in there, in terms of ring intelligence, in terms of knowing what to do and when to do it. The thing for Hopkins now, as a 49-year-old, look, forget that. As a 39-year-old even, it'll be harder. As a 49-year-old, it's even harder. So when your brain is telling you what you want to do and your legs can't do it, Hopkins is having to stay in the pocket a bit more than he wanted to, especially the last 3-4 years and starting to trade with people. You don't want to do that at light heavy.
No, you don't want to do that at light heavy. And look at the Hopkins last fight with Kirill Murat. People were saying that Hopkins put on an entertaining performance. He stood and held his own within the fight. I can't disagree with that. I think Hopkins was made to fight that way because he knew he couldn't do certain things. He knew the guy was not a terribly big puncher, so he knew he had the opportunity to actually try and stand more because he couldn't really avoid and box on the outside the way he really wants to. Yeah. And the legs might be going. And at his age and the way he's fighting, any day could be your final fight.
Yeah, and again, look, Shumenov's now, so again, we're talking about Shumenov in a second, but going back to Hopkins, once you get to an age of 49, look guys, we're in our 30s, and everyone watching this in their 30s or 40s, you'll start to know, even without fighting, just little things start to get a bit harder. Yeah. You know, I mean, the runs, the sprints, the jogs start to get a bit harder. So it's not even a case of people will say to me, okay, but Hopkins hasn't taken any punishment in the ring. Yes, he hasn't. I agree with that, he hasn't. Even though he's taken probably a bit more than he used to, it's it's just the wear and tear of even the sparring sessions, of even the road work, everything else that comes with it now. At 49, this can't be easy. Yeah. And my fear factor for Hopkins is that it's not really what affects him in the ring, it's more what he does out of the ring. And then once he gets in the ring, you just don't know. And I feel like I wouldn't want someone like Shumenov, who, no disrespect to him, is almost a no-name, to get a real good win over someone like Hopkins. Because that's what people remember, unfortunately.
You're right, but Shumenov's not a name, but he's got credentials.
He's got very good credentials.
He's an Olympian. He's from the old Soviet system. The guy won the world title in about 12 fights.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very rare in this day and age. People are praising about Rigondo, who won his world title in his 11th fight. This guy got in his 12th fight. So it shows that he's got some amateur, some level, some technique, some skill that takes him further than the average 12-fight novice.
Yeah, and the thing for Hopkins as well, look, it's Hopkins. It's the biggest name out there, you know, alongside Mayweather. It's still, no matter what people say, it's still one of the biggest names out there. Stevenson and Kovalev, they're calling him out still. So that kind of shows the pulling power that Hopkins still has. And you almost feel like, for Hopkins, he can't fight nobodies. We've seen recently with a lot of other fighters doing warm-up fights, you know, doing 8-rounders, 10-rounders. Hopkins, they're chucking him there with people that they expect to have good fights with. You know, Murat, people might look at Murat's record. It wasn't a shit record. No. Shumenov as well. The next fight after this could be the one that scares me for Hopkins. I almost want him to go out, win this, and go out. But I've been saying this for 10 years and he's still there. So I don't expect it. But look, who knows? Like, I expect Hopkins to win a decision. But again, it's a risky fight.
Yeah, it's a risky fight. I think everyone's known now, like, you don't really bet against Bernard Hopkins. I mean, he knows how to pull it out. He knows so many tricks in the bags that he could use to take people out of their game. And he's already been talking about how he's already in Shumenov's mind by saying he made him stand here and pose and do it by positioning him in certain places, which is all good in theory. But like I said, once you go into the ring and you've got those 12 rounds, you've got a big, strong guy coming at you. And again, this is not part of the fight. I'm not trying to say conspiracy theories, but Shumenov also signed Al Heyman recently, which means he's looking at a longer career to maximise his money and have the most powerful man in boxing behind him. That's not the guy trying to cash out. That's the guy trying to sustain his career.
That's very true. Look, Hopkins still wins. I'm confident in that. This is the thing about Hopkins. I think every video we've done, I think I've called him to lose. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm lucky I'm not a gambler man because I'd have lost a lot of money on Hopkins. Early from Tava, going backwards and forward, I've had him to lose every fight, and for some reason, I don't know what it is about him, he still pulls them out of the bag all the time. And we're not talking about, he's not, you know, just winning wins on split decision here. He's comfortably winning. Yeah. He's comfortably winning. Which is why I guess he doesn't want to retire, because he's thinking, wait a minute, I'm still kicking these younger guys' asses. I'm still doing it. So how can you retire?
No, it's not that he's dominating these guys are winning lopsided decisions. Again, like you said, you always bet against Hopkins. I always bet with Hopkins. This is the first fight since, I cannot tell you when, at least 15 years, that I'm actually not fully confident in the Hopkins victory. It's not just because of Shumenov, because of all the factors mentioned. Like I said, the fight with Murat, I saw signs, I saw certain things with Hopkins where, like I said, whereas he had to take more shots, he had to trade, he couldn't move. And this guy is not here to lie down. All right, so it's not that I'm betting against him, but I'm seeing it going to be a more competitive and a more trickier fight than people expect.
Okay, so in view of all that, in view of the fact that you even have a Hopkins tattoo on your back, how does Hopkins win this fight? If he does win it, and if he doesn't, explain.
Oh, like I said, I don't bet against Hopkins. I'm going for Hopkins to win, but I don't think it'll be his normal one-side decision. I think it'll be a close, competitive fight. If Shumenov has anything in his tank, he knows he has to push the fight late. The guy's 30 years old. Like I said, he's got the amateur background, he's got the experience, he's got a world title, and he's got the motivation that a lot of people don't really have in fights. I mean, he's got the motivation. And like I said, for people to actually put money into you, Golden Boy to sign you, even if it was to get 4 Hopkins, for you to have Al Heyman, for you to have certain things, you sound like a confident guy who's not going to be deterred.
Okay, a Hopkins win. So if Hopkins does win, we're talking fighters in April. Is it enough time for Hopkins to turn around and fight a Stevenson or Kovalev in August? Can Hopkins at 49 turn around in 3 months? 4 months?
Yes, I guess he can. I reckon in Hopkins' history, when you look at Hopkins is a better fighter when he's more consistent. When he has long layoff, he's less consistent. When you saw when he fight Enrique Aurelius, Lombardo Andrade's brother, he had a long layoff and it was a very poor performance overall. But then after that, he came back and fought with it 3-4 months after, and he looked sharper. When he lost to Kawasaki, he fought Pavlik a couple months, about 4 months, 5 months after, he looks much sharper. If he stays active and keeps his body well oiled, that's the best thing for him.
Okay, guys, there you go. Ryan's got Hopkins decision, but close. I'm going Hopkins with a decision as well, very close. I expect Hopkins to start well, but I expect him to fade really, really bad going down the stretch. 8, 9, 10, 11, expect it to be exciting. But guys, what do you think? Who wins? Does Shumenov cause the upset? Is it really an upset now when you're fighting a 49-year-old? Or does Hopkins show us what Hopkins always do and still remain the executioner and kill off another career? Guys, leave your comments below. Email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk.
And guys, thanks for tuning in for another edition of Box Talk.